So everything was locked down to the absolute lowest settings possible. Textures, low. Shadows, basically non-existent. Post-processing, let's just say Silent Hill is foggy enough already. We don't need extra filters. I enabled FSR in performance mode because when you're running on an i3 with no graphics card, performance really means please don't explode. And I went with 720p windowed mode. Full screen at this point would be like asking a bicycle to tow a truck. Not happening. The results? On a good day, in a calm, empty corridor, the FPS hovered around 15 to 18. That's technically playable if you're blessed with the patience of a monk and the reflexes of a sloth. The moment the game decided to flex its Unreal Engine 5 muscles, a cutscene transition, a big enemy spawn, or even just fog rolling in, performance nosedived. I'm talking 10 FPS or less, basically a horror slideshow. Imagine watching a cursed PowerPoint presentation where every slide is a nightmare. That's Silent Hill F on low-end hardware. And it wasn't just the frame drops. Input lag was like trying to swing a pipe underwater. You press the attack button, wait a second, and then maybe your character reacts. By that point, the monster has already chewed half your health bar. Add in micro stutters, occasional freezes, and the fact that sometimes the audio didn't sync with what I was seeing, and you've got a haunted house of technical issues. Now, I will give credit where it's due. The fact that the game runs at all on this rig is impressive. This is an Unreal Engine 5 title, and most UE5 games laugh at low-end PCs. They don't just run poorly, they don't run, period. Silent Hill F somehow squeezed itself through the cracks and gave me a taste of the new nightmare, even if it was the diet version. But that doesn't mean I'd recommend it. For us low-spec warriors, this is less of a gaming experience and more of a stress test for both your PC and your sanity. If you've got any kind of modern CPU, like even 2 steps above mine, you might have a slightly better time. If you're rocking integrated graphics from the last couple of years, you may squeak by with a playable experience, but with an old i3 like mine, forget it. This isn't survival horror anymore, it's survival frame rate. So unless you enjoy horror at 10 FPS with controls that feel like you're possessed by lag demons, I can't recommend Silent Hill F for low-end users. That said, if you do try it and manage to get a smoother run, let me know in the comments. Maybe your machine is blessed, or maybe it's cursed in a different way. Silent Hill F leans into familiar survival horror DNA, but with enough changes to invite both praise and frustration. The combat mechanics are modular. Yes, there is stamina, dodges, counters. But relax, it's not a Souls clone. The pacing and clunk feel are more like Silent Hill 4, if you remember that weird, constrained corridor madness. Every swing, every dodge, every misstep matters. You can't mindlessly mash the attack button. That said, there were times the controls felt a bit awkward. The delay between input and action became uncanny, especially during tense fight moments. Some people criticized the cumbersome combat and awkward dodging, despite the ambition behind it. Enemies are grotesque and creative. They don't feel like palette swaps. Each has quirks. Some resist your weapons, some punish you for overextending. You can't just pipe whack your way through, unless you enjoy dying repeatedly. The game pushes the survival horror ethos. Underpowered, scarce resources, terror over power. This works in its favor. You feel desperate. You feel the stakes. The map design is tighter and more linear compared to open horror games. That constraint is a strength here. It keeps pacing focused and tension consistent. You don't get lost in endless backtracking. The Japanese setting adds flavor, shrines, rural architecture, cultural touches that ground the horror in a specific world. What's praiseworthy is the atmospheric storytelling, strong world building, and how the horror often comes from what you can't see or fully understand. On the flip side, the combat's ambition sometimes overreaches. A few people says that while the art and narrative are imaginative, The combat mechanics weigh down the experience. Some puzzles feel uneven, transitions between the real and other world can jolt the flow. The game forgoes traditional jump scares and relies more on psychological dread, which is bold but riskier when performance is erratic. In my run, the moments that worked best were exploration, ambient dread, the quiet hallways, the creeping fog. In those, even at 15 FPS, I felt a chill. The combat sections, though, exposed my rig's weaknesses every time. A heavier scene, multiple enemies, fog thickening, that's where it broke. In the end, Silent Hill F is an ambitious, moody, flawed gem. On modern hardware, especially with a GPU, I believe it can shine. Strong narrative, emotional weight, atmosphere that lingers. Exactly what a Silent Hill game should aim for. But on my low-end setup, with no graphics card and a humble i3, it becomes a battle against your own machine as much as the monsters. The performance issues, frame drops, lag, stutters, frequently distract from immersion. The combat is deliberate and meaningful, but often awkward under pressure. The world design, enemy variety, and horror sensibility mostly deliver, though they sometimes overpromise when performance can't keep up. So, if you're a purist survival horror fan with even a mid-tier PC, this game is worth a shot. If you're stuck in low-end purgatory like me, be prepared for a rough ride and treat this video as a cautionary tale. Let me know if you make it past the first boss, or if your version runs better. I'll feel less alone in this fog. Thanks for watching me squint through 15 FPS terror. If you survived this review, hit like, subscribe for more Can It Run on My Toaster content, and drop your specs and performance in the comments. I want to see whether Silent Hill F betrays me or you too. Until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and may your CPU forgive you.